back to Timo's Dinky Detailing. Today I'm not going to be doing a Dinky, I'm going to be doing a Lotus 7, but it's not going to be a Dinky toy. I'm looking for a friend to go along with this car. This is a mini moke from The Prisoner. And so what I've decided to do, I couldn't find a Dinky toy version. I could find some die-cast versions, but they are very expensive and there's nothing to restore in a brand new toy. So I decided I would make one from scratch. Instead of making one from scratch, I found, here's a printout of a body of a, so I can do a roundabout picture, a before picture, and it's a 3D printed body of a Lotus 7. And I got this from Thingiverse. Since I couldn't find a Dinky version or a Corgi version, I found a version that somebody had designed, and it's Troyster, and he made this design, and it's beautiful. He made it for Cub cars or Scout cars, whatever, Pinewood cars that the children would race, and my son was racing those ones too, made out of wood. But he's designed one probably for his son, and it's a Lotus 7. And the body in this one is kind of hollow because it's really set up for Pinewood car racing. I made it into one single body, and you can see there's the base at and all the parts are available, and I downloaded them all and I scaled them to the size of a Dinky toy, and actually to match the actual size so it's the same scale as the mini moke. So here I am cleaning the printed model, the early version here, and you can see I dip it in alcohol, which is dirty. It's got lots of the resin that's been cleaned off of other models, so I spray it with fresh alcohol to get all the resin off of it, and then it goes on to or into this little chamber which has the ultraviolet light for curing model. Here I've got the fenders all glued onto it, and you can see there's a lot of texture, lines from the 3D printing. So to get rid of those, I'm using Bondo glazing putty, and that windshield is just there for show. And this way I can fill in all of those lines, or most of them. I just want to get the ones that are going to be really obvious, because I'm not going to get all of them. And this glazing putty is very good. It dries hard and it sands very easily, so it's very nice to work with. I designed this with a hole in the bottom, and I can put a little piece of stainless steel, which I salvaged out of a cartridge for laser printer. I don't throw bits of metal like that out, so I take the things apart and pull out those parts. And what I'm doing is I'm putting weight in it, and actually this was designed by Troy to be filled with weights. So here's the beginning opening sequence. I'm trying to determine what color the car was. So these are the opening credits, and it's in every episode, and sure looks like it's black. There you can see it looks black. Now there were 3 cars. In a later episode, episode 7, Many Happy Returns, I'm not sure if it's the same car. I know there were 3, but this one looks pretty much the same. And it also, you can get a hint, maybe it's a very, very dark green. In that shot, it looks like it could be a very, very dark green. And when they're talking in the doorway, I'm leaving this here so you can hear some of the interesting dialogue. So now we know how to say the license number. I always said KAR 120C. But no, he said it KAR 120C. So that's how I'm going to be saying it from now on. That's how you know it's the Prisoner's car. This wasn't actually Patrick McGowan's car. They borrowed it for making the show. And you can see there it looks black in the background, very clearly black. So there was a third version for the final episode called Fallout, and it's obviously not black. This one is the third car that was used. The original car was eventually sold, went to Australia as a race car, and it was totaled there, so they had to replace it in different episodes. But I decided I'm going to do it black because I believe the original one was black. The second one may have been very dark green. So it's a big controversy online. So here I did the first version and I painted it and it ran under the tape. And I said, you know what, I had another problem was I couldn't get the headlights to fit in between the fenders and the nose cone. So I decided I would redesign it to have two parts to the body so that I could just paint the one and then paste them together and I wouldn't have to worry about taping it. So that's an advantage I have. Now this guy designed these parts really, really well. See how the fender pushes into the slot and stays there by itself. Same with the rear fenders. He made this curve, and if you fit the thing in place, it stays there. It doesn't fall off. So to glue these on, I don't use glue. I just dip, or I put a little bit of resin on the connection, and then I put the fender there, and I just stick it into the curing machine, and it cures it with the light, and it becomes all one part. And so everybody knows that it's the Prisoner's Lotus 7. I put the number plate there, and of course it's 3D numbers. He of course has the numbers in the front. So I printed them out and painted the background, the grille, originally black, and I just gave it a spritzing of silver to give it a metallic look. There's a lot of interest in these cars because of this show. They were very interesting because they were perfect cars for the character. The character is a freedom fighter, wants his privacy, his freedom, and the car was well, originally it was built, but they came up with a tax in the UK on cars. If you bought a new car, and to avoid the tax, whoever was running Lotus decided that he would make the car a kit, so you could get this car as a kit, and then you wouldn't have to pay that extra tax. You would get the parts in a crate, and you would take them apart and you would build it. But they couldn't give you an instruction manual, because if you had the instruction manual, then they'll say, well, that's a completed car. It's not just a box full of parts. So they didn't have a manual. But conveniently, somebody wrote a book that was how to disassemble a Lotus 7. Of course, you read the book backwards. It told you how to put the car together in the first place. So it's a perfect car for this rebel guy who does everything wrong. He comes up to the gates. He drives underneath the gate before the gate opens. He goes into the building through the way out, and he's just a total rebel, and this is the ultimate rebel's car. So here you can see I'm attaching these headlights onto the nose cone, and has all those parts done before it's assembled. So I can separate the paint, but I can also get those headlights in place and then slide it on top of the model with the fenders already on it. So I made some changes. I put a hole in the back for the spare tire. I'm just using a toothpick because that's easy to work with. And here I've added to his design as well. I added some fake looking springs, but it gives you a little bit of better look of the mechanical look of the car in the front end. And of course I've got a hollow shaft hole for dinky style wheels, which is my plan, so that it will look like it's a dinky toy in the end. I don't think I achieved that completely because it still kind of has a plastic model look to it, but I'm trying to match with what was in the car in the TV show. He designed these tail lights. This is terrific for me because I don't like painting these tiny details, and these parts are really, really tiny. But if they're like this, I can paint the back of them white, and then I can put red on the front of them, a transparent red, so they get a bit of a transparent look. And then of course they're painted like this, and I don't get any overpaint onto the bodywork of the car. And when I'm done this, I just clip them off and I can glue them into place, and no paint gets onto the bodywork. I really have to say, I'm going to be posting the parts for this on Thingiverse, and I'm going to also say that that this is a what do they call it, a rework of the original one, and of course give him credit, because really he did a fantastic job of getting all those parts together. Here I'm gluing the taillights in, and you saw the seat. I changed the seat around from his design as well, and I tried to put paint on it that would be matte paint because it's a seat, so it gives it a bit of a soft effect. But in the end I wound up painting over that brushed on paint with russet paint, which is a very nice color from Mr. Hobby for painting these things, and it looks great on it, which you'll see later on. So here's a dashboard. I got this image from a real Lotus 7 dashboard photograph, and it didn't come out perfect, but it looks like a dashboard. Now these wheel assemblies, I bought these for a different purpose, different job. I have a toy, dinky toy, that has these really cool wheels, and I saw that Steve Flowers had them at Model Supply, and so I ordered them, but they don't look quite the same, but they're perfect for this car. They look fantastic. The 3D printed version will, I will provide the wheels because Troy made wheels for it. But for my model, it's going to look like a dinky toy because I put these actual reproduction dinky wheels. So this is the external exhaust pipe going on. I didn't make any changes to most of these parts. They're just as they were designed by Troy, and they look fantastic. See, these are the wheels that come with it. This is the spare wheel, so the hub is just flat at the back, but they look very sharp. And I could put it together with those wheels, but I think it looks more like a dinky if it has actual dinky wheels. Now the steering wheel is a little bit high on this compared with the real car, so I'm poking a hole in the speedometer for the steering wheel. And here I put the seats in. I didn't glue the seats in, so I think even later on I had the seat out of it again for something, but actually to this point I still haven't glued that seat in. So I'm putting a little, this is just a hobby glue, and this is the rag top that's folded up on the back, and then I put the steering wheel in its place. So this is mostly done except for the nose cone. There we go. That was quick and easy. Now for the windshield, you saw it earlier on there. I decided I'm going to put the glass on there. It's a thin piece of plastic, as I've done before. And I decided to sandwich it, so I made up another piece of frame that will sandwich it. I'm not sure this was the best choice. If I do this again, I think I'll just put the plastic there and not, there's no need to sandwich it. It winds up being a little bit too thick, but anyway, it looks pretty good anyway. Now this is the shape of the real windshield. It has those little triangles at the bottom, and he's got these little triangular bumps, so I'm fitting it onto those bumps. Of course, it's not going to stay there unless I glue it, so I'm using a little hobby glue and filling that triangle right to the bodywork, and that stuff dries absolutely transparent, so it's not visible in the final model. Now this is 2-part 5-minute epoxy. It's a batch I got from the dollar store, but it seems to be an old batch. It's sticky even before you mix it together. And then finally another number plate on the back. So this is to remind you that we started this as a piece of plastic, and let's see what it looks like now. So I'm pretty pleased with how this has come out. I think it looks fantastic. Maybe the windshield is a little bit clunky, but I think it's good. I don't think I could get it finer looking than that. But now my Now my mini moke has a mate, so when it goes into the display case, we've got two vehicles from the prisoner. I'm thinking about doing a Rolls-Royce hearse that is prominent in the first episode, and it's in the last episode as well that you just saw. If I can find the Rolls-Royce that's close enough to the model that's in the show, and I believe Dinky made one, so I'll probably do that later. So here it is, the two models together, Mini Moke and the Prisoner's Lotus 7. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of Timo's Dinky Detailing. It's not, well, one of them's a Dinky toy, but the one I built is a faux Dinky toy. I wish Dinky had built one, but they didn't, so I made one for my own purposes. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, be seeing you.